The 14th installment. The second day. Virtues. Verse 1. Caring. It is said that caring is the work or practice of looking after those unable to care for themselves, especially sick and elderly people. It is displaying kindness and concern for others. Verse 2. It is believed among my Hindu children that ahimsa symbolizes love, genuine care and compassion towards all living beings. This, in and of itself, is good. Verse 3. My true Hindu children, be encouraged to act with empathy, love and humility at all times so that you know that you are doing the right thing. Show empathy through considering how others are feeling and how you would feel if you were in the same situation. Do things to help others. Verse 4. To my Buddhist children, demonstrate metta, loving kindness. That which implies acting with compassion toward all sentient beings, with an awareness and appreciation of the natural world. The giving of metta, an integral part of your Buddhist medicine, for it has the potential to enhance modern primary health care. Your metta is humanity's universal goodwill and loving friendliness. Verse 5. In the Quran, Allah says, help one another in acts of piety and righteousness. And do not assist each other in acts of sinfulness and transgression. But instead assist the people of the book and its offspring, the cross, whether you believe in it or not. For whom is your neighbor? Verse 6. On the importance of the human heart. The most important term of Taoism, Tsu, which can be translated caring or compassion, is based upon the character for the heart. Your Tao Te Ching cites that caring is the first treasure, and that caring itself comes from courage. Verse 7. Your rabbis understand this pronouncement as a reference to the individual. There shall not be in you a destitute person. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ, the offspring of your Judaism. Verse 8. Sikhs believe that charity should not be given in an attempt to curry favor with God. Instead, it should be given out of the pure desire to help others, an act that itself brings one closer to God. Guru Nanak taught that all beings have divinity within them, thus, helping one another is helping God. Verse 9. For we serve a naked God within this earth. Our Om Omnilogos, our word, our God is the destitute, the lonely, the castaway, the abused, the victim, the outcast, the abandoned, the homeless, the hungry, the addict, the drunkard, the adulterer, the prostitute, the effeminate, the violent, the murderer, the thief, the pagans, the sinner, and the saint. Verse 10. To my Jain children, avoid bad karma, avoid reaping the bad from the bad that you may have sown. Practice ahimsa, your strict code of nonviolence. Continue not to harm plants, animals, and non-living things, air and water, for they are life, and as such contain souls, just as humans do. For this is your faith. It is the principle of nonviolence. Verse 11. To my Baha'i children, care for the stranger as for one of your own. Show to alien souls the same loving kindness ye bestow upon your faithful friends. But do not think that you are better than them. Verse 12. Charity. It is said that charity is the work or practice of caring generosity and helpfulness, especially toward the needy or suffering. It is also given as aid to those in need, as in received charity from neighbors. Verse 13. But for many, charity has become an institution engaged in selfish operations. Various agencies, case management, and state-run nonprofit organizations that dictate a forced offering from involuntary means produced from labor is instead a burden to others. This burden should not be forced. It should be carried out by those who practice faith in the name of their God, as it was once practiced in the first century of your Christian faith. Verse 14. Chastity. The pure. The innocent. It is said that chastity means pure or innocent. Verse 15. Is it of any wonder that virgins are so highly esteemed among all women as found within your various writings of Holy Writ? For they choose not to produce copies of your phantomatic images. Nor do they seem to delight in your strawman. Verse 16. Caution. It is said that caution is care taken to avoid danger or mistakes. Verse 17. This is true. As it is written, be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy the devil prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Verse 18. Cleanliness. It is said that the state or quality of cleanliness is being clean or being kept clean. Verse 19. But how does one become clean in mind and body? How can one separate the two? It is said that to become clean one must achieve salvation through Christ alone, and that it is only through the blood of Christ that one is saved, hence, causing us to be justified by faith and grace. This is positional salvation. Some also believe that one must separate the mind from the body by renewing it through a sanctification process. It is your positional and continual sanctified walk with God. Verse 20. But in your own new covenant, it is written that salvation can exist outside the cross, as in its unbelief, and it can exist in and through the cross, as in its backup. It is a backup to those who fail in working out their salvation, and for those who fail Jesus many other methods of salvation as confirmed by the Master himself, to love God and your neighbor as yourself. To keep the commandments: do not commit adultery, do not kill, do not steal, do not bear false witness, honor thy father and thy mother. Sell all that thou hast, and distribute them unto the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven. Become as little children. Be a good example unto others, eating and drinking the flesh and blood of the Son. For this was prophesied by your Ezekiel that God would sacrifice his own life in the prophet's 39th chapter, verses 17 to 21. Verse 21. Your true salvation is not of this realm. It is of the Spirit, as the Apostle wrote. Flesh gives birth to flesh, but the Spirit gives birth to spirit. So, it is the same with everyone born of the Spirit. Conditional requirements are these. For the babe and young in spirit they provide release and security. This is good. Empty yourself and discover your inner Om Omni Logos and Samadhi. Verse 22. Commitment. It is said that commitment is the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. An engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. Verse 23. But you are not free. For you are committed to your particular faiths. Break the bond of your spiritual shackles and become free. Discover the Om Omni Logos within you. Discover your Samadhi. Let go. Verse 24. Compassion. You say compassion is sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. Verse 25. But to achieve compassion one must become envious. Hence turning envy into goals. You say, small gestures, thoughtfulness, generosity, and turning envy into goals can help you grow in compassion toward yourself and others. This is duality. For you cannot have one without the other in this worldly system of chaotic imperfection, often dubbed as good and evil.